speaker is Candace Tremblay.
Good afternoon, everyone. I started this pursuit unsure of what I would focus on today. There are so many environmental problems, all of which that are so complex. I asked myself, what could I possibly tell these knowledgeable people that they don't already know? So today I hope I can provide a different perspective on where we need to go from here. I soon realized that my fears for the future were shared wholeheartedly. The most common frustrations and fears stem primarily from the following: being so dependent on oil, overconsumption and waste, the unsustainable rate in which we are extracting non-renewable resources just for short-term payoffs, water pollution and the fear that in the future wars will be likely waged over the basic need for survival, clean air or lack thereof in so many places in the world and all the health concerns associated with them, biodiversity loss and its effect on agriculture and the uncertain future of food, climate change and all that's associated with it, energy consumption and lack of effort to use alternative renewable resources, and the list kept on going on and on and on. And like all children learn in kindergarten, if you make a mess, you need to clean it up. It is so easy to blame someone or something so that you don't need to take personal responsibility yourself. And no one person or corporation is completely to blame for our situation. It was and is a joint affair. In a sense, every one of us is at fault due to the choices that we make. I heard Dr. William Rees, who coined the term ecological footprint, speak a couple years ago. He reflected on how irrational human actions are. For we know our current trend is unsustainable, yet we still continue business as usual. Where are our priorities, I ask? We have to reevaluate what we view as success if anything is going to change. The same message kept on getting shoved in my face. We are destroying the earth due to our overconsumptive lifestyles. I heard many apathetic statements from people around me, and very few people changed their lifestyles due to the perceived notion that it would be a hassle to do so, or they were only one person. What change could they possibly make? So a sense of apathy is almost understandable. Now, I don't want to say that all young people are helpless. No, not at all. That would definitely be an inaccurate generalization. For example, I had some incredible professors at Augustana, University of Alberta, where I went to school, that led by example, lived sustainably, and certainly instilled hope in many of their students by being good stewards of the land themselves. Where does this sense of helplessness come from? I don't want to blame it on technology, because there certainly is value in technology, and there are other contributing factors. However, with technology such as computers, televisions, cell phones, and video games, there are more children growing up separate from the environment. More and more children are growing up in cities and don't make the connections between their actions and the environment. The energy source for light, for instance, is seen as being at the flick of a switch. Water comes from a tap, not from the local watershed. And young people don't realize where their food comes from, other than the supermarket. I fear that children are growing up with very little understanding of their local environment. Students may learn about rainforest degradation in school. However, if they are not able to relate to the material, it will hold no relevance. If apathy is keeping us from action, how are we expecting future generations, those that are arguably more disconnected from the land, to tend to this mess? No one is going to want to fix something if they don't care that it is broken in the first place. If we want our children to flourish, says the place-based educator David Sobel, we need to give them time to connect with nature and love the earth before we ask them to save it. Sobel brings up a very important point here, one that I think we need to take home. Rather than teaching children about all the environmental problems that we have, we need to help them connect with the land through exploration and play. When one has a relationship with the natural world, they will be the true stewards and feel responsible for its conservation. You are all here today because you have some invested interest in the environment, be it through your employment, research, personal interests, or another reason. In a sense, I feel like I'm preaching to the choir, but I feel that this message is just as relevant if not more so for you. We are the ones that people look up to. If they see that we are suggesting action in one way and are acting another, they will view the environmental field as hypocritical and give up hope. The worst thing that people can do is give up hope. I truly believe that there is hope, but it starts with people walking the talk and leading by example. People will be influenced to act pro-environmentally when they see, read about, and listen to others that have made simple alterations to their lives, especially when one recognizes the tangible impact of their actions and the benefits associated with them. When it comes to conserving the environment, we can't lose. There are so many benefits. The obvious one, of course, is that we can't live without it. But there are multiple other benefits, such as healthier lifestyles, personal recreation, creative inspiration, spiritual well-being, personal identity, and so much more. When people make changes to their lives, a little bit at a time, it is not a burden on their lifestyle. In fact, it may enhance it and save them a little money along the way. Take alternative modes of transportation, for instance. If you walk or bike to your destination, it is healthier for you. And if you take public transit or carpool, you learn about other people and have a chance to build community with others. And this is one of my greatest hopes, actually, that we build stronger communities. In our high-paced technological world, we are so disconnected from nature, but we also have forgotten how to communicate with one another. Where there is a lack of communication, people seem to be less accepting and tolerant of differences. This builds barriers. However, when we talk to one another, work on projects together, and discuss issues that are important to us, we put a face on an issue. When we build community, we have a sense of responsibility to our communities and the people within them. We realize that our actions affect more than the immediate, but also our neighbors' families and those around us. This same bond can be developed in our ecological communities as well. If we spend time in the outdoors and get to know it, we will want to protect it. That is why it is important to help foster a love and relationship with the outdoors through personal interaction with nature. Every one of us is capable of change. That's the glory of rational thought. We can think things through and, with enough will, can make a difference through our choices and actions. I personally feel a responsibility to make a difference. I have been born into privilege here in Canada, and I need to raise my voice and take action for those who can't. I feel that we all have that responsibility. My hope is that in my lifetime, I will see the power of the people, that all people will take responsibility for their actions, recognizing that they are an integral part of the Earth's ecosystem and that everything they do can affect it in a negative or positive way. That we will, in the future, not fight over resources, but come together and have a universal language on ways to tackle environmental issues. We know from history that people come together after devastation. We will have devastation if we don't do something. So why not come together now before that happens? Be proactive rather than reactive. We know that if we continue on our path, that future generations will not have clean air, water, and air. That our ecosystems will not be stable due to biodiversity loss. That we will not have all the luxuries of today because we will have dried up all our resources. So it's vital that we change our ways now. We are all the one person that wants to make a difference. And we will, as long as we communicate and cooperate with our local and global communities, as long as we practice our democratic rights and speak to our local politicians. There is certainly hope when we start walking the talk. Throughout this conference, I want you to reflect on what legacy you want to leave behind, what you want to be able to tell your children and grandchildren that you did to improve the environment. Thank you. Sorry.
Thank you, Candace. Your enthusiasm and insight was a great way to conclude the session. So before joining me in a round of applause, I'd just like to say that I thank the